There we go. And what I'm going to be doing is, whoops, daisy, let me push that button. There we go. What I'm going to be doing is welcoming you to this Welcoming B1G1 webinar. And what's interesting is we have a very eclectic mix of people who are joining us from right around the world, as it happens. William over there in Ireland, welcome. Great to have you here. Mihal up in Ireland, people in the US, sorry, in Canada. Whoa, wherever you came from, welcome. Thrilled to have you here. By the way, I've got a couple of recommendations for you just before we begin. Let me give you those reservations regulations. First one is this is a rule: you got to go and get yourself a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage so that you can sit nice and comfortably. It's a great idea as well to have a notepad so you can take notes as we go through. And in just a moment, I'll show you how you can interrupt the proceedings at any particular point in time. Oh, by the way, it's okay if you have a coffee or a cup of tea. And some people joining us may be having something else because they're probably in their pajamas right now at some points in the world. And so wherever you are, welcome. Here come the rules, if you will. So the first thing is this sort of looks a bit like school, doesn't it? Where you put up your hand, and you'll find uh, on your GoToMeeting control panel there, you have a little go to hand thing. And although there's a lot of things for me to look at here, because I'm all on my own some here, in near place near Horsham, I'll be able to hopefully keep track of when you put up your hand. If it takes me a minute or so to get to it, please understand that. And also, of course, in terms of questions, we're going to make this as interactive as you can. So I guess what you need to do is put up your hand, ask a question, or alternatively, just go ahead and type your question in the little chat box there, or indeed the question box. And I'll do my very very best to respond to it. And because we've got an interesting mix of people today on the program, it's going to be an interesting mix of where we go. So stay with me through this. First of all of us are going to see a very new way of talking about B1G1 very soon. And it's probably about 3 or 4 weeks away. I know you're going to love it. And what we're going to be focusing on is this whole thing about the three key things about B1G1. I just want to review those for you. First one is it's all about impact. Second one is it's all about habit. And the third one is it's all about connection. So in terms of our time together today, obviously, in terms of impact, then we'll be explaining and exploring exactly how you can do that. In terms of habit, I'm going to be inspiring you. At least that's what I hope is going to happen as we go through the program together. And you're going to see some people who do some fascinating things, which I think will inspire you as well. And then, of course, we're going to be getting a connection together here. We're going to show you not just the connection that we can have through the webinar, but also how other people are using B1G1 to connect in very interesting ways. And those of us who are on the call who are not yet, no, I don't think there's too many of us yet, but who are not yet members or partners of B1G1, then I'm going to look forward to connecting with you and specifically welcoming you as well. We'll get to that right at the end of our time together. And of course, what I'm hopefully going to be doing as well is listening. So again, once you put up your hand and everything else, then we'll do our very best to get to you. One of the things I wanted to do just to sort of set the scene is to remind us again of where B1G1 is. And as you know, we talk about it as giving, business giving reimagined. Hi, Rick. Gosh, good to see you here. And Rick, you know all this stuff, so you can be doing the webinar. So yes, it's all about about reimagining business giving. So let's just remind you as to what that looks like in the B1G1 sense. So normally, of course, B1 or your business giving is all about giving to one cause. This practice, this firm, this business proudly supports XYZ charity. Whereas in B1G1, of course, it's not about that. It's about spreading your giving over 604 carefully selected projects. And I stress the carefully selected projects. Interesting enough, on a webinar earlier this morning, we had some people who are the beneficiaries of B1G1 giving, and it was fascinating to hear them talking about the processes that we take them through to make sure that 100% of the giving goes and all of that kind of stuff. And they did ask me to express, by the way, their gratitude to everybody in B1G1. These were people who were specifically concerned with stopping children's blindness. And just fabulous, fabulous cause. But anyway, let's get back. So it's about spreading the giving around. It's not about one-off events. And by the way, this is not in any way to say there's anything bad about one-off events or anything bad about one cause. But it's just that if we are going to change the world, and that's what we want to do, want to make our dent on the world, then the way to do that, of course, is to develop a habit. And you're going to find as we go through the program together that there are some people, in fact, increasingly, this is very interesting, increasingly a lot of people who are actually giving every single day. And one of the things they tell us is that it only takes 40 seconds, so why not do it, kind of thing. As you know, that particularly, well, those of you who've been here before, hi Raymond, good to have you here up in sunny Scotland. In some charities that you get involved in, you pledge amounts. That's not true in B1G1. You're giving will track your success, and we'll look at that as we go through as well. I hope you don't mind me using dollars and cents as opposed to pounds, but then again, those of us in Ireland, I guess I should be talking euros. That was kind of interesting when I was there in Dublin. I felt like I was overseas, if you know what I mean. So it's not about the dollars. It's not about saying we gave $10 to this charity, we gave $1,000 to this particular charity or whatever. It's always about the impacts you create. It's about you do this and this happens. Always about impacts, and not even about X percent of our giving goes somewhere. That's just I'm sure you recognize that is not a resonant thing to do. Sadly, in some charities, there's been some interesting exposés lately. I'm not sure whether you've caught up with them about some major charities that you would know. And sadly, as little as 37% of your giving actually goes and reaches the people that you think you want to reach. In B1G1, it is always a full 100%. In fact, as many of you know, we even make up the bank charges. Sadly, the banks do decide to take their little thing out of credit cards and all of that. We're hoping that they're not going to do that soon, by the way, but currently they do. And we make that up for you so the full 100% goes. Again, business giving generally is thank you for the money and there's no connection. In B1G1, there is massive connection, the kind of connection that we have and are very privileged to have with you across all time zones and that like 24 hours a day. And again, in many charity activities, it tends to be all about the charity and not about the business, and that's okay. But in B1G1, we take this whole process very, very seriously, and that is to say the process of building your business. And of course, the reason we do that is because when the business builds, the giving builds as well. And I guess we've all had the circumstance where we go down a street and someone rattles a tin under our nose or shows us, some sad sort of photographs designed specifically to make us feel guilty because they know what that does to us and they think that's a good thing. It's actually not, because it's not sustainable. So in B1G1, it's not about feeling guilty. It's all about sharing the joy of giving. And those of us that are online right now, like Raymond, like Rick, who have already been giving, you guys know what it's like. It's one of those things that just makes you feel great. And the final thing, this is like an Australian way of saying things. It's easy as that is to say, it's very, very simple to do. So let's just, before we give you the specifics of how to do that, let's just talk about, and then we want you to meet some people. Let's talk about, remind ourselves for some, how it all works. So you take your service, your product or products, or indeed increasingly your daily sales, rather than matching it directly to products, and you decide how much to give. How much of that sale can I give? Whatever that amount is, and then you choose to match that or link it to one or more of 604 projects currently up there on B1G1. And you do that, and please feel free to do this as we chat, to open up another window and go through the projects list on B1G1. And you'll see all of those projects there, and you'll see how you can scale things or zero things in. You'll see even how you can filter things to find the most popular projects or the least popular projects, or those that have tax breaks. And you do that by clicking on the Projects tab in B1G1. And once you've decided, or once you're looking at those projects, what projects should you choose? You choose projects that resonate with whom? Well, resonate with you as the business owner, resonate with the team, or resonate with your client or customer. Interestingly, just on that, one of the things that we've noted, which is like counterintuitive, we have some people, for example, who are optometrists, and so you might think that one of the things that's very obvious for the optometrist to do is say to their client, well, here's your new lenses, here's your new glasses, and as a result of that, we've given 5 people the gift of sight, kind of thing. Now, you might think that's very obvious and a logical thing to do. What's very, very interesting is that we're finding that the obvious thing is not as impactful as the not so obvious thing. So, for example, and we've tested that, and so we have, for example, optometrists um, who are saving orangutan spaces, or we have optometrists who are planting trees or whatever, not necessarily giving sight. The reason I mention that is I would like you to experiment with your giving. Just be free. Don't make it as logical as you think it needs to be, because it actually works even better when it's not the obvious one, which is kind of interesting, isn't it? There's a very important word if you're taking notes that I'd love you to write down, and it's the word and, A-N-D. Because in B1G1, there's a lot of and. It's never about you can do this or you can do that. It's and this and that and so on. So now you say, let's suppose every time you make a sale, you've decided you can afford to give $100. Again, excuse my dollars. So then you could say, if you so desire, every time we make a sale, then, now there's an interesting and coming up here. 1,000 children get access to water, and 300 trees get maintained, and 10 farmers get trained, and 1 Indigenous trainer is employed for 6 months, and 17 children are fed and educated. Now, I don't know what word comes up for you when you see that. Go ahead and type it in the chat box, whatever it is, or indeed on the question box. But I know that most people go, "Whoa, that's pretty cool that I can spread the giving over these things." And as you'll see in a moment, it's very, very, very easy to do that. So I want to encourage you to be as widespread, if you will, in your giving as you possibly can be. And interestingly, as all of us I think know on this webinar, you can do that before, during, or after the sale. So you can be very overt. You can be very well. I was going to say covert, but that's not the right word. But let's see what I mean by that. Here, for example, is a company called Logistics Bureau. They are a supply chain management company dealing with major companies, as it happens in Australia. And their projects are typically lasting for about 3 or 4 months with their clients. And you can see here that the way they're doing that is once the project is completed, they mention nothing when the client engages in the project. But then once the project's completed, they then use these certificates of appreciation. This one is interesting, the one you can see on the right-hand side of your screen there right now. And by the way, how do they choose the giving? Where the giving goes to? It is the responsibility of the team members to choose the giving. Coincidentally, they've just downloaded that from the B1G1 site. We'll show you how to do that in just a second. And now they know that there's a better way of doing that. And that is to say they download it, but then they let us work with them to really make the words very, very compelling. And again, I'll talk about how we do that in just a second. But interestingly, on that one, you'll see they've automatically given vocational training, I hope you can read it, to 150 girls rescued from prostitution that one's actually in Cambodia. And the reason that that's kind of nice is that we're actually going. Some of you may have seen a note about that. We're actually having our next B1G1 study tour. It's going into Cambodia. We're going to be looking at education specifically. We're going to be building playgrounds and building some odd schools over there and doing some interesting cultural things as well. And we're going to actually be involved in some of the school programs with these kids who've been rescued and stuff. So it's going to be a fascinating tour. That's coming up in January. I think it might be January the 6th, but in any event, stay tuned because you'll get to hear about that. Here's another one. The thing, though, I like about the way that Rob O'Byrne and his team at Logistics Bureau do this is, there you go, there they are. That's Rob on the right-hand side. And I hope you can see that there they are with pictures of the gratitude certificate. That's one of the walls. There are others that keeps them kind of motivated as to what the main game is. Interestingly, Rob is also very interesting in as much as he joined B1G1. He was at a seminar in Melbourne, and he joined, and then he went back that evening to Sydney and opened up his email. And the moment he opened up his email with his passwords in it, he gave within like 5 minutes of joining B1G1. And we know that that is critically, critically, critically important to do. So those of us that are currently part of B1G1 and haven't given yet, get on there and give, because it's a very interesting feeling that I can't express until you actually do it. So just go on, and as you know, your giving can start from 1 cent as well. So it doesn't need to be a major amount, but just give something and just see what happens. Now, here's Rob O'Byrne, by the way, and you'll see that he's given, here's some of his giving stats. And he's been involved in B1G1, I think, for 4 months now. And he would be embarrassed if he knew that I was showing you this. The reason I'm showing you that, of course, and that's across 14 givings. In other words, he said 14 projects that have completed since he's been on B1G1. Actually, it's 15 now. There was some giving the other day, and I haven't updated these numbers. But you can see the impact that he's having. Talking of impact, and we're going to show you exactly how to do this in just a second. Once you've set the system up, and of course, you don't need to set it up. You could just go online right now and say, I think I'll give a goat or whatever. So you don't need to have anything set up, but it's really cool to get things set up. And I'll show you why and how in just a moment. The system then comes back to you. Remember, we said, you've got $100 and you set up all of these things that happen. And the system then says, okay, how many sales of that thing did you make? You answer that question. You can override the giving at any point. You can change it just from a mouse. And then you simply get out your credit card. Don't use those numbers on the credit card you see there. And all the giving gets done. By the way, if you have a PayPal account, and it's very useful to be able to get a PayPal account, although we will be changing that platform soon. But if you have a PayPal account, you'll find it even easier to give once you have a PayPal account. Now, to show you how that works and how that looks like, let's just visit an actual web page. This is an accountant up there in the northern part of Queensland. Her name is Kylie Anderson. And the specific thing that I want to show you, there's her web page. I hope you can see it. And you notice how she's got B1G1 front and center. Some accountants crunch numbers, we change lives. Now, bear in mind, we work with you. That's exactly how she wanted to say it. But we work with you. Please don't go putting stuff up on your site without working with us to make it reflect you. And here you see down the bottom of her site, hopefully that's rotating on your screen as well as on mine. Someone might let me know that you're seeing it on the chat box there, that yes, I'm seeing it rotating. And you see all of her giving coming through there. And that's live. That's on the B1G1 widget. And I'm going to show you in a second how you get access to that widget and put it on your site. So what that means, of course, is that if Kylie were to be online now and did the giving, the widget would be automatically updated right there. So let's go back to the main presentation there for a minute. There we go. And let's go. Oh, here is Kylie. I'd love you to see this. Take a look at this. Here is Kylie. She's a very small 5-person accounting firm in a place called Noosa. And take a look at the giving here. 208,000 people, access to clean water, 40,000 people. It's amazing, isn't it, when you look at just what can be done. And I know that some of us online have already done these sorts of things. Again, she's would get very embarrassed if she knew that I was doing this. And she's had a total of 41 givings so far. She's been involved in B1G1 since March the 12th this year, by the way. And interestingly, because she's got her entire team, and I'll show you the team in just a second, getting involved with the giving, take a look. We need more than one page because not only has she done that, but this has happened as well. So 1,200, 1,000 people doing this, 800 trees maintained. You can see it all there. 613 people, 575, and we need another screen as well. I wish I could hear you now because I hope you would be saying, wow, that's pretty cool. 250 children and then 200 people occupational training for a day. And even more coming up right there. So, and you can imagine this is all happening just automatically because she well not automatically. I mean they're in control of it, but just because she read a particular document, and I'm going to show you what that document is in just a second. By the way, so that you get a look at Kylie, here she is. This is where she is. She's at a place called Noosa. As I mentioned, her office is actually in this building right here. I hope you can see it with the trees. Nice environment, you must admit. There's the environment internally. A couple of years ago, they decided to quote unquote modernize it. There's the team. Pretty interesting, quote unquote, lovely, ordinary human beings. There they are celebrating, I think, finishing the renovations. And talking of celebration, so that's a what, one, two, three, 6 people on the team doing all of that giving that you just saw a minute ago. And Kylie would absolutely die because one of her team members sent me this photograph talking of celebrating. Here she is celebrating her daughter's wedding by jumping out of a plane. Apparently, the daughter did not jump out of the plane. She actually turned up at the church, but Kylie, Kylie jumped out of the plane. So I get that off there before she kills me. And all of us have the potential to do what Kylie's doing. Because she's an accountant, perhaps it's more than most people. She invites her clients to be part of B1G1. Now, if we were looking at this on the web, and you would see this under what we call the businesses, under C, the C tab, under businesses that give, or alternatively, you just go look for your giving and you'd see this leverage giving. The blue circles here, they would normally be rotating and being updated. Those are the clients of hers that she has recommended to B1G1 right here. And you can see that we can see their giving out here as well. So it's very, very interesting. And as far as we know, this is the first time you've been able to do that, to kind of really get a sense of the totality of your giving input through there. Oh, Hashima, hi, nice to have you. There you go, Hashima in Singapore. Hi, Hashima. Thank you for being here. So here's Karen, and let me show you. Here's Karen's giving, and the reason I'm showing you this is because Karen actually runs a retail store, and there's 2 reasons I'm showing it to you. One of them is that she actually gives every day, and the reason she gives every day is because it takes 40 seconds, the beautiful thing about that is that she does it sitting alongside, and I'll show you how she does it in just a second, sitting alongside her son, 6-year-old son called Max. And so Max is inputting the numbers and seeing the input, or the impact, I should say. So very, very interesting way of getting the family involved. Here is, and the reason I'm showing you, Karen, is she's a client, as I said, of Kylie's. Here's where they are, up at the top left there. That's that place called Noosa. Here is the shopping center where Karen's shop is. There's the river, and here's her shop. right here. And it's a tiny, tiny little store. But when you go in it, it's just full of color, as you can see. And it's just 21 meters square. The clients are usually women, I think, and kids, sort of ranging maybe late 40s, 50s, something like that. It's a very highly packed store. But one reason I wanted to show you this is right over here on the far left. And you'll see this swing tag here, not on every item of clothing, but on certain items of clothing. Now, one of the things that you'll get to understand in just a second that we do with you is we work with you on how to articulate the giving. And this is a classic example of it. Karen said she would like to have a swing tag. There's the swing tag right there, and we worked on that together, working on the words over here and the design, and it's a really interesting way of connecting. Karen says that when the ladies don't do much with it when they buy it, but when they get home, some interesting things start to happen because they realize that they've been giving. It's a fantastic way of connecting. Coincidentally, we have an accounting firm who's actually using the same thing right now. They saw that this is this whole thing about connecting, and they're actually running postcard campaigns now into the community saying some words to the effect, I don't remember the exact words. If anybody wants to know them, we'll send you the postcard. But it's something like, when you change accountants, you change the world. Something like that. It may not be exactly those words. And here's how she does it. Essentially, all she does is this is called, you can see here, my favorite giving. I'm going to show you in a second where that is on your menus. And all she does is all set up, you see, over here. And the moment you give, this is very clever, the moment you give, if you go online, let me say that again, when you go online at the end of our program today, at the end of our webinar, guess what? Your name will appear right here, right over here. There we go. And you'll see it right there, and it'll be top of the list until someone else comes along and, as it were, tags your place. But it actually rotates for a little while. We keep it there for a little while. Now, that's not the reason that Karen gives every day, but it's kind of useful. There's where you find it. Underneath, if you're logged in now, you will see something called My Account, and it's just My Favorite Giving. And we're going to show you in a second how you set that up. And then once you set it up, you just go to it, and you simply put in the quantities right here that you wish to give. And this is what little Max is doing. And you press Add to Cart. In Karen's case, she has a PayPal account. Very easy, doesn't have to key in credit card numbers, all of that sort of thing, and away it goes. So hopefully that's of some benefit for you there. And what I'd like to do now, in a moment, I'm going to pause because we do want to get your input. But what we want to do in just a second is take a look at how you now make all this stuff happen by having you log in. It would be really useful if you were logged in to your B1G1 account, maybe by opening up another window. Don't have to, but because this will follow through and show you how you can make all of this stuff happen. But let me just pause for a moment and see if anybody has their hand up. Oh, look at that. Raymond has his hand up. Hello, Raymond. You've probably had it up for 10 minutes. I'm sorry it took so long to get to you. Raymond, hi. How are you?
Oh, yeah, it's got the poppy coloured red.
Hi, Raymond. How are you? Hey,
Embedded
Raymond,
Engine,
I
yeah.
got here.
You see it. Yeah. Royal Mint's New Remembrance Day.
It looks like Raymond's on the phone.
I'm just having a look at it now. There's a whole load of them. A load of images have come up from Canada are doing it as well, and all
Oh,
sorts of
looks
things.
like Raymond's talking to
Uh,
someone else, so we'll switch that off for a minute. Raymond, you'll be embarrassed when you hear that back. Um, so let me just pause. Anybody else got their hand up other than Raymond, or anybody asking questions? Now is a good time to do that on your chat box. If not, it's okay. It's really, really okay. Good. Okay. Well, let's press on and show you how to do things. So this little area of your screen, once you log on, you'll see your screen like this, although actually it'll be a bit different because in the past few days, there's been a couple of other stories that we write. And that's one of the other things we do with our partners. We write stories about you so that your your message, if you will, gets spread around the world. And Hashima, who is online there in Singapore, just did a brilliant story. It's actually up here on the B1G1 site right now about a guy called Tin Hua. Go have a look at that. He's a manufacturer, does some interesting stuff and with the giving, and he makes some very interesting comments about B1G1 as well. So let's do this. Here's that the kind of like the engine room, if you will, of B1G1. This would normally be on the right-hand side of your screen, this thing over here. And there's all sorts of things you can do. Invite your team members in, invite your friends. Don't worry about that now. Don't worry about that. Where we want to focus for now is this area right here called member resources or partner resources. So let's take a look at what happens. And the most important thing, and if you happen to have read this already, please tell me on the chat. So this is a booklet. I think it's a great booklet, but perhaps it's not me that should say that. It's probably you should say that. But it's called Getting the Absolute Most from Your B1G1 Giving. So if anybody's actually seen that, you might want to put up your hand, or you might want to ask a question or put it on the question. We would love you to do that. Oh, Christine has got a little question there. Can I include the B1 at the bottom of my emails? Hang on 1 second, and we will get to that, Christine. So just hang on 1 second to that. You, can you hear the people ringing my hotel door? They're going to have to go away for a second. Yes, I know it's housekeeping. I will be there in just a moment. I'm actually on the phone. Okay, get you soon. Sorry about that, guys. I'm in the best hotel in the world here in this place called Horsham, or Hurst Pier Point to be exact. It's called South Lodge. If ever you want to get a fantastic place to go and be disturbed by the housekeepers, this is a good place. It really is a fabulous place. But anyway, one of the things that's very important for you to do is get that booklet. Don't even just read it. It's like everything you need to know, but we're afraid to ask. So if you haven't read that booklet, then please do that. And I'm just concerned with them keeping knocking that door there, but I'm focused on you, believe me. So get that done, download it, and read it. It talks about appointing champions, and you'll find the last paragraph in that very, very interesting and very significant in terms of getting the most out of B1G1. Here's how you get the logos and the widgets and all of that sort of thing when you click on banners, logos, and more. One thing that I want you to do, I really would want you to do this, and I know some people joining us on the call have already done it and can attest to the value of it. Please go up here and download your B1G1 logo and put that in whatever form. And by the way, sometimes people are dealing with graphic artists who don't like these particular formats. So all you need to do is just ask us, and we'll give you the format that the graphic artist would want, and put it on your, not just your web page, but put, or your blog or whatever. But most importantly, put it on your business card. And the reason is it will change every conversation. Trust me, every conversation that you have will do this. Just 1 second. I'm going to stop that little thing. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm just on a conference call. I won't be long. I'm doing something. Okay. Got to give me 20 minutes. There we go. At least they were smiling. There we go. So back again. Oh, it's all happening here. So banners and logos, and then and you can embed these as you can see on your site. Next thing to go, in other words, this is really the beautiful engine, if you like, of B1G1. The how-to videos, very important to watch that. Again, if anyone's watched it, do let me know on the questions, the comments, and all of that kind of stuff. Oh, and Hashima, whilst you're there, you might want to have a look at Christine's question, which is all about putting the widget at the bottom of the emails. I know we have some input on that. If you could let me know about that, that would be fine. And where are we? Oh, yes. Watch that video, particularly the one at the top. It's a fabulous video. We've just redone it, actually. And it's kind of got everything you wish to know about the giving process. including just giving because you want to give rather than locking it in to any particular project. Here is the widget. So, Christine, to answer your question, what happens? And by the way, you will only see this once you have given. You will see the top half of the screen here. At any time, you can see the top. But this code right here in the middle of the screen will only come up once you have given, because I guess it's not much point having the widget if there's no giving going on. So essentially, as it stands right now, Christine, you can put that any place where you can put HTML code. That's essentially what that means. Now, um, there are some issues with doing it with Facebook. We know that, but there is a workaround that you can do with Facebook. And Christine, with your specific question, let me get back to you on that. I think it is that we are doing some work, I know, around making the widget more widely available. But as a general rule, anywhere where you can do HTML code, you can pop the widget in. But again, there's lots of things happening on the widget, so stay tuned for that. Here, there you go. There's the widget. On there, you see the widget down the bottom of Kylie's page again. Here's the gratitude certificates. You see the ones that some of you got when we met this week, and there they all are. Now, you might say, well, hang on, there's only 7 or whatever the number is, 8 or 9, whatever there. Some people, and we love to do it. First of all, with the words on here, please let us work with you to develop words that make sense for you. Don't just feel you've got to use these words. Uh, we are absolutely here for you to articulate everything in a way that makes sense. So don't just go and use those words unless you really like them. But I would suggest, I know there are better words than that we can work in for you. The other thing that some people do and have asked us to do is to make these up as thank you cards. And yes, we can do that. We can change the pictures, we can change the words, we can do all of those sorts of things. All that is required is that you ask us to do those things, and when you ask, then you will receive, I think, is the general idea of all of that. By the way, Brian, nice to have you here too. And that's it in terms of the engine. So now we're going to stop for a second again. And although there are 3 questions there, that doesn't mean we're going to wait until we get 3, or that we are going to restrict you to 3. So go for it. Any questions, comments, observations that you might have at this particular point in time? I assume everything is still working okay, and I assume that you can hear everything. So let me know, or go ahead and ask a question. Seems like everybody's drinking their coffee or having their cheese sandwich or whatever it is that you're doing right now. No? Okay. No questions? No questions coming? Okay. I can unmute you if you will. Okay. Okay. We'll do this. Hang on a second. Mihal, are you there? Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. Let's continue on then for a little while. And this particular part of the program, by the way, I know there are some of you. Oh, Raymond is back again. Okay, Raymond, here we go. I thought I put up the wrong hand before. My sorry. Raymond,
Hi, Paul.
hi. We got back to you again, but you were having another phone conversation.
Yeah, I unfortunately was, but I've got everything. You were at a bit that I'm familiar with anyway, so
Yeah. So anyway, good to have you. You're up in Scotland this morning.
yes, I am.
Good. Um, those of you who were at the program recently, where we talked about the power of names, we were doing a program that was called Remarkable, and then Raymond went out and registered Remarkable Scott, wasn't it right, Raymond?
Well, the business name is Remarkable Scotland in brackets Limited,
Yeah,
but my bank card when it arrived had my name, and underneath it had Remarkable Scott.
there you go. So anyway, good to have you. And Raymond is a an interesting entrepreneur. He has a background in the law and he runs a travel agency and all that. So Raymond, you had your hand up. So what were you wanting to contribute or whatever?
Yeah, the question was really about the best way to recruit other local businesses out with them attending a seminar that's run by you.
Yeah.
So I was just wanted to see if there are any tricks, tips,
Did you
hints,
did you
insider
say
secrets.
without them having to do that? Is that what you said?
Yeah, if they can't get to a seminar,
Yeah,
because
yeah, sure.
in
Well,
uh,
interesting because someone whom you know did that this morning, and they just
that be
said
Matthew by any chance?
no, it would not. It would actually
Oh,
be Stephen Doherty.
oh
And
right, okay.
yes, and Stephen asked me the same question via email, and he said, "Look, I'm forever talking about B1G1 at the networking groups that I go to and stuff like that." And so he said, and sometimes they ask me to make a little presentation. Can I do that? So we worked on a little tiny presentation for him. And then he said, "Look, people seem to be inspired by that. Can we do something else?" And I said, "Well, are you thinking like a webinar?" And he said, "Yeah, a webinar would be really great." And so this morning we had some people online from Glasgow posing questions and joining B1G1. Yeah, so you
Good.
can do that as well.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Yes.
And of course, you're so skilled that you could do that all yourself too.
Well, not as good as you.
Oh no! You're very gracious. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, and great to have you here. Thank you. Any other questions, comments as we move forward here? Okay, none of them. Okay, well, let's just move forward. And this little part of our program, by the way, is really for those of us, and there are a couple who are online, and at this particular point in time, they have not kind of completed, if you will, the B1G1 process of actually joining B1G1. So if you're already there, don't switch off necessarily, but let's just go through that. I want to show you a couple of things that happened 2 weeks ago. Um, Here's a lovely little email from a guy called Peter Tattersall. He's a training company up there in where is it? London. Yes, SW2. And look at this. Thanks a lot for something. You've set up something very special. I'm really thrilled to be a part of it. Uh, this is the real point I want you to see. It felt great donating vocational training for children in Cambodia who've been trafficked. Oh, that's the project we're going to visit, by the way. For every one-day training course we're commissioned to deliver, and he works with councils, we'll be funding for a teacher to deliver one day of vocational training for these children. I think my team and my customers are going to really like this. I sure do. Since that email, he has actually gone in on tendering processes because you would understand that in local councils, first of all, in the United Kingdom, the local council market, shall we say, is interesting. And so he's gone back to various people now that he's a B1G1 partner, and we've helped him. Again, it's all part of us working with you. We've helped him position uh, in a very nice way the whole B1G1 thing, and the response has been fabulous for him. It's opened up other doors in a very interesting way. And by the way, the other reason that works is because it's very high integrity. He's not in this to for marketing reasons. He's in this because he wanted to find a way to give. But it's kind of interesting if you actually can express that integrity in the marketing process. And this was one of my favorite things. I've actually got it recorded on my iPhone. But the people who make the software for GoToWebinar recommend that I don't play it to you. So I'm going to read it. What happened was I was in London and got onto the plane that night and had the 14-hour flight to Singapore. And then when I got to Singapore, I switched on my iPhone and there was a message. And let me show you the message. It's from Alex Capcott, who's in this part of the world actually in Horsham. And he said, "I was just amazed at the ingenuity and the genius of the whole B1G1 concept. It's so easy for every business in the world to take it up. It is unbelievable. It's probably the cleverest thing that I've ever had. So it's really nice to get that kind of feedback. So, given that you're inspired by all of this, and this is again for those of us who are not yet part of B1G1, then let me just cover a couple of things because it's very important, I guess, that we look at things and we look at things and we get ready to take action because we are inspired. And of course, because we're inspired, we want to make an impact as well. So let's talk about, for those of you who are not yet part of B1G1, how you do that. In fact, what does business giving totally reimagined look like? And by the way, those of you who are already B1G1 members will see some interesting little things here. I wonder if you see an interesting difference. So stay there. You go. That's going to make you watch now. There. So first of all, you get these great in integrity projects to choose from. I think many of you know, and the longer this goes, by the way, the more the more I see the power of having an independent board of B1G1 Giving that not regulates, but that does the due diligence on all of the giving, and make sure that it is in integrity. Um, right now the board, as I think you know, are rejecting. That's a nasty word, but putting aside 6 out of 7 projects or causes that get recommended to us for various reasons. That is to say, 1 in 7 gets through. And in some ways, well, I tell you what, I feel great about that because it does mean that everything that we do is totally in integrity, which is fabulous. An amazingly simple giving platform. You've got that. I mentioned already that some people are giving every day, and it's just a 40-second process. Easily spread your giving over multiple projects in single givings. It's staggering. It's seriously staggering. And Rick, you know this, who's on the call. Raymond, you know this. What happens when you spread the giving? It's just a really really fabulous feeling. The current record, by the way, which we're very happy if you would try and break, is 63 projects in one giving, and that was an accounting firm in Cheltenham. 100% of your giving going where you want it to go. This is all part of the $1 a day thing for which is the renewable 360. This is how B1G1 sustains itself. This is how we're able to have in integrity projects. This is how we're able to save you doing all of the work that otherwise would be necessary. You also get your very own real-time B1G1 widget, and I know, Christine, that Hashima will be coming back to you on that email question, and of course the rights to use the B1G1 logos, and you can add in your team members for free so that they can put their own money in this. So the salesperson goes out and says, "Wow, I had a great day today," or the accountant goes out and says, "Oh, I did a good audit today." I guess that happens, and they just come back and from their own pocket put in the money, but that actually gets linked to your own giving, and you can see that happening. And then, of course, there's partnership, and again, I stress some of you might notice something quite different going on here. So you get everything you've just seen. There are never any renewals. Membership of businesses that give so that you are connected to other businesses around the world who share the values that you share. Our full-time support articulating your giving. And it's more than just articulating your giving, by the way, but we'll talk about the more in just a second. But articulating the giving means, in some, it means what do you have on the website? It means what do you have on your business card? It means what do you have on your office wall? It means what do you have on the gratitude certificate? It means what do you have? One particular chemist, for example, we work with them every month, and they have different posters that they do in the store. So all of that is all happening. Your website design, all of that is all happening, and it's all part of you being in B1G1. And some people on the call have already benefited from this. The on-demand business mentoring with me. That's I mean, yes, it's crazy, and obviously you couldn't get it for that number up there. But as some of you know, it's something that I do because it's just fun to do. It keeps me in touch with so many things. And of course, it builds the business. That's the fantastic thing. It helps you build your business. And then, of course, when you build your business, guess what happens? We start to reach our goals, which is to create a world that's full of giving and to drive that through SME businesses. And so, in other words, your business builds and the giving builds as well. So, the on demand thing is there. And all you do, like if, for example, just being on this call, you go, well, it's a great call, but I wonder how I, do that. But just shoot me an email, and you'll get to experience the on-demand business. I wish I could tell you about something that happened yesterday in relation to the mentoring, but I don't know, it would take too long. Just amazing stuff. Anyway, and you also get the Outstanding Business Series, which is a B1G1 member recorded some fabulous interviews with I think 8 great entrepreneurs. That's normally made available for $300, and it's in DVD form. But we put that on a stick for you. We put all of the other B1G1 resources on there, and so on. And I still don't have any of the quote unquote old people. Then Michael, I'm sorry, using Kaz, you're saying using your logo. Yes, 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 go ahead. What about using the logo? Kaz, expand that a bit more. Um, Loughborough. Oh, yes. Indeed, indeed, Michael. Indeed, I know. Okay. Um, let's see. Michael, could you just send me an email, please? And I will get back to you before I hop on the plane to go to Jersey. If you could do that, that would be wonderful. And I'll show you exactly how you progress on that. Sorry, Michael, that it took so long. And William, I know that you signed up. And how do I start the giving? Answer: you click on the Give tab on the B1G on the B1G1 site. Just click on the Give tab, and or even better, William, just go watch the video, and that will show you how. That is the how-to video. So just log in, and that resource will open up for you. And by the way, as some of you are pointing out, you already signed up, and yes, it's there we go. It's these are the things that people value on that, and it's 5 times $300 for life. By the way, that doesn't mean it's 5 times $300 for the rest of your life. It means it's 5 months at $300, and you are a B1. You are in B1G1 for the rest of your life, which is a really cool thing to be. By the way, Michael, there's the email down there, paul@b1g1.com. Those of you who are business partners, interestingly, for some weird reason, we don't, well, I think I know the reason. We don't have the business partner logo kind of open up for you. So if you would like to get that B1G1 partner logo, let us know, and you should get it. In fact, we'll send it to you anyway. But if you wanted to remind us about that, then just send us a reminder. I guess is the way to do that. Just quickly, this comes up very often. The projects and charities. How can you get your local charities, your local projects involved here? Very simple. What you do is this: you go to the homepage, which until 2 days ago looked like that. It's now changed a little bit, and it will be changing very significantly in about 3 weeks' time. By the way, there's the Give tab right there, William, right there, Willie. And the tab that we want you to go to explain the whole charity piece and getting local charities on board is this one right here. It's called the More tab. And when you click on the More tab, then you'll see some things open up, and here it is. This is like now directed to the charity, if you will. It's how do you become a B1G1 worthy cause. You'll see the level 1 criteria and the level 2 criteria. And then what we would do is we will connect with the particular charity that you recommend us to. We'll get them to fill in some forms. We'll have conversations with them. We'll put that before the B1G1 board. We will do a whole lot of due diligence on them. And then the board will take a look at it. And if the board says, yeah, it's fine, then everything is great. And then we would work with them, all for free, by the way. We'll work with them for free to bring really great projects to B1G1 and monitor the whole process and so on and so forth. Now, if they don't, the B1G1 board says, actually, no, for various reasons, we don't think we should do that particular cause right now. It could be that um, there's a duplication. There's a whole number of reasons why it could be. Thank you, Michael. Um, then you can. Here's the important thing: you can still give. You can still give to that. The local dogs home, the local trust for this or whatever it is. But all you need to do is let us know that you're doing that, and then we take your receipts, and we have some fairly interesting software that then kind of blends all of that into your giving impact statement. So in other words, it's really, really inclusive um, uh, uh, as we can possibly make it. Of course, when the project comes on board, then the big advantage of that, and as I said to you earlier on, we had one of the projects talking with us earlier this morning, and they were saying, oh, it's just been an extraordinary journey for them, seeing and connecting with businesses around the world. And they just got to a point. They actually do blindness for children, and just so that you know this, they actually got to a point of oversupply, and they, rather than simply take the money and divert it, they're just so great. This is all part of the integrity project. Says, whoop, can't take anymore, and so we've paused that project right now. But obviously, they could have used the money for other things. But that's the integrity of the project, which is so cool, and that highlights the kind of people that we deal with, and of course monitor. And anyway, good news is that particular project is opening back up in about 3 weeks or so again. So anyway, there's the little charity piece right there. So go have a look at that. It's an interesting little piece there. The other thing, we've been talking about articulation all day. Please let us work with you. Please, whenever you're writing stuff about B1G1, and please, we're not saying you can't write it. Of course you can write, but just let us bring our experience to bear. So that just the other day, we just changed two words in a thing for a recruiting company, and it changed everything. And the person, her name is Allison, said, "Oh my gosh, I wish I'd sent you that before we printed it." Now you know. And sometimes people think, "Oh, no, the guys at B1G1 are very busy, but actually, and they make decisions for us. Like, you wouldn't want to hear from us. We love hearing from you. In fact, we have one of these things in our office. You can see that an old car horn, and we honk that thing uh, whenever someone is talking with us about, not during when they're talking, obviously, but when they finish. And so it brings joy to our life to be seriously connected with you. So go ahead and just connect. So there we go. We've covered a whole host of things in rapid speed. I don't believe we've been here for that length of time, but rapid speed. I hope it's been valuable. And by the way, this is not been valuable. Goodbye. Still time for questions, comments, and observations before we say our farewells. Looking forward to your email, Michael, and that will be very, very simple. Bearing in mind, it might be a little challenging for us to respond to that instantly. I've got to rush out of the door here and go to Gatwick Airport and get an aeroplane. And Hashima, who's been online, I think let's see, it's oh my goodness, it's 8:30 in the evening over there in Singapore, but I suspect she might be waiting for your email as well. So, any last minute questions, comments, observations? Okay, if not, I think we should have. I'm going to recommend to the GoToMeeting people that they have a little arrow which is like applause, because I would like to applaud you for being here with us for this time. It's extraordinary that we can do this. The technology is amazing, but more importantly, you're amazing for being a part of it. I hope you can see how thrilled we are. Thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to the giving flowing and to all the emails flowing, and most importantly, to making a difference with you. It's going to be great. Looking forward to that immensely. Make it a great Thursday ahead. Bye, everybody.